The commission, now known to many as the 9/11 Omission Report, left out many obvious facts, including the fact that a third building in the World Trade Center complex completely collapsed that day, and it wasn't even struck by an airplane. Described as being damaged in the attack, which started fires on several floors, the 47-story steel-framed federal office building known as World Trade Center 7 collapsed in 6.5 seconds at 5:20 p.m., more than 7 hours after the second Trade Center tower fell.
Ah, Building 7, the smoking gun. When over 200 stories of skyscraper falls to the ground into fine dust and another building collapsed as well? Shocking. And it wasn't mentioned despite the fact that it wasn't targeted by terrorists?
And speaking of Building 7, the BBC conducted a live report in which reporter Jane Stanley announced that World Trade 7 had collapsed. There was just one small problem with the report. Building 7 was still standing in the background as Stanley was reporting that it wasn't standing. Matter of fact, Building 7 wouldn't collapse until 20 minutes after the report of its collapse.
What? So, were the British news anchors in on it too? What about the guy who typed into the teleprompter? Was he in on it? Could it be that they knew that Building 7 was gonna fall? That it was like planned to fall? Or could it just be that maybe she misspoke in the middle of a hectic news day where they're trying to cobble together all the information they can and they can't exactly verify any of the reports because, well, the scene is a complete fucking disaster.
This is the Windsor Hotel in Madrid, Spain. On February 12, 2005, a fire broke out on the 21st floor of this steel-framed 32-story building. The fire blazed for 23 hours, gutting large portions of the building. And while some of the floors crumbled away in the flames, the steel structure's skeleton remained standing.
Disturbing, yes. Nothing to do with 9/11 though.
In comparison, the South Tower burned for a mere 56 minutes on far fewer floors before it completely collapsed. And the North Tower burned on relatively few floors for only 102 minutes before it experienced complete structural failure. Building 7, which wasn't even hit by a plane, only burned for 6 or 7 hours. So to recap, the Windsor Hotel burns for 23 hours on many floors and remains standing. World Trades 1 and 2 burned for less than 2 hours and yet experienced global symmetric freefall collapse.
You are aware that the Twin Towers are built completely different from that building in Spain. Like, they're over 4 times taller. There were more floors between the fire on the towers and the top of the towers than there was in that entire building in Spain. Don't you think all that extra weight might have led to a faster collapse? Swaying in the wind, a half a mile in the sky?
World Trade 7, by the way, was the largest CIA headquarters outside of Langley, Virginia, and housed offices involved in several large-scale federal investigations into massive stock market and accounting fraud. Building 7 was the first to be cleaned up and the evidence destroyed at Ground Zero.
Back with this Tower 7 again? Look, I don't know what evidence you think was lost in that building, but okay, they cleaned it up first. Maybe because it's on the outside of the huge fucking hole left in the ground from the Twin Towers, and they need to clear the rubble away from the outside first so they don't have to keep hopping over it to clean up the mess that would take years to clean up in the end.
On July 24, 2001, just 49 days before the 9/11 attack, a guy named Larry Silverstein from Silverstein Properties put up $14 million of his own money to secure a $3.1 billion bid and acquired a 99-year lease on the World Trade Center from the Port Authority of New York. Despite not being the owner of the buildings, Larry was the sole beneficiary of the insurance indemnity payments of more than $7 billion for acts of terrorism. After a long legal battle with the insurance companies who covered the policy on the Trade Center complex, the court awarded Silverstein $4.55 billion.
Insurance fraud? What a bastard! How dare he invest in property which was responsible for much of the world's economic progress? Guy must have been a fool to think he could have made money from the financial capital of the world. Look, I don't like rich people either. But we shouldn't just automatically assume this guy's a fucking supervillain.
The Freedom Tower, also known as One World Trade Center, currently the third tallest man-made structure in the world, is the main building in the new World Trade Center complex. Standing 1,776 feet tall, the skyscraper cost $3.9 billion to construct. Silverstein's insurance settlement contributed $1 billion to the project.
What an asshole! Helping New York City to rebuild. Shit! If he were a good guy, he would have just taken the money and run.
The state of New York provided an additional $250 million, and the Port Authority agreed to give $1 billion, which would be obtained through the sale of bonds. The rest, as was suggested, could be collected through increasing New York City tolls. At 9:03 a.m. on September 11, 2001...
Okay, seriously, wait. Hold on. Don't go to number 2. What was so disturbing about that one? What, everybody was helping out to rebuild? Was it disturbing that they had to raise the tolls?
At 9:03 a.m. on September 11, 2001, it's alleged that Flight 175 crashed into the South Tower of the World Trade Center.
Your use of language here infuriates me. The plane allegedly crashed into the fucking building. Did you look at the goddamn tape? You could see the plane go in the fucking building. What was alleged about it? What, did the fucking flight that they were tracking just magically appear? And then all of a sudden out of nowhere, another plane came from out of nowhere and just hit the building. No, it's a fucking fact. The plane hit the building. It's not fucking alleged. Now go ahead.
At 9:06, Chief of Staff Andrew Card informs the president, quote, "A second plane hit the other tower and America is under attack," end quote. At that same time, in other parts of the country, Vice President Dick Cheney, Condoleezza Rice, and several congressional leaders were rushed to secure locations. But not the president. The president's Secret Service detail, whose protocol it is in this situation to see the president as a high-value target with a well-publicized location that must be moved, in unprecedented fashion did nothing to whisk the President of the United States away from that school into a secure location. The official report records that Bush remained at that school for another 20 minutes after learning about the attack on America.
Listen, given the circumstances of the time, I think 20 minutes is actually pretty reasonable. I'll tell you why. Number 1, he's sitting in a classroom with children. No reason to just jump up and cause panic. Number 2, he was actually traveling with press who needed to be moved as well. So that takes a little bit of time. You know, the other politicians, they were out of the public eye. They could be moved quickly and easily. Number 3, he needed to address his people quickly. The technology to broadcast in real time from Air Force One just wasn't available at the time, so the president couldn't have been on the move while he was addressing his people. He had to stop and do it. So I'm actually quite impressed that they got him out of there in 20 minutes.
Speaking at a town hall meeting in Orlando, Florida.
Orlando? Who the hell lives in Orlando?
President Bush was asked by a child how he felt when he heard about the terrorist attack. Bush's response was extremely interesting.
Extremely interesting? That's a hard sell, dude. What do you find extremely interesting? Because to me, like, the Beatles, serial killers, Gordon Ramsay, they're extremely interesting.
Recounting the events of that day from his perspective, he said that he saw the first plane hit the tower on a television that was, quote, obviously on, as he sat outside a classroom at Booker Elementary School in Sarasota, Florida. The problem is that no one could have seen the footage of the first plane hitting the tower since there was no known live coverage of the first plane. There was no live coverage of the event because nobody expected an attack. The footage that was taken allegedly of Flight 11 striking the North Tower,
allegedly? Fuck me!
Was captured by Jules Naudet and his French film crew at 8:46 that morning and would not be released to news outlets until a day after the attacks. The president's incredible statement that he saw the first aerial assault was another important item that was omitted by the 9/11 Commission report.
You know, I've crossed over from being pissed. Now I'm just laughing. Let me ask you, what's more likely? A, it's all a big conspiracy. Bush knew about it. The rich guy knew about it. The teleprompter guy knew about it. Nobody told. But poor little Bush, man, he slipped up. He just had to leave that little hint for the conspiracy nuts out there to pick up. Or is it B? Bush misremembered. He saw the footage later, then he just confused the memory in his mind with seeing the towers on 9/11 and, well, I guess he was under stress, so it'd be easy to do such a thing, wouldn't it? I mean, it's not like President Bush was known for, you know, political gaffes and saying things wrong or, you know. oh, wait.
Thank you all very much. I was trying to escape. It didn't work. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for watching. Thanks to my soulmate, my life mate, my roommate Gary Williams for filming this. And thanks for sticking around and watching my videos. I've been going through a little bit lately, but don't worry. I came through it alright. And I'm back. I'm here to give this YouTube thing another crack. You know, the old college try. So stick around. It's gonna be a lot more. Please share this video. Show it to someone. Don't let this day belong to the conspiracy nuts. Let it be remembered as a day when we all united to rebuild, when we put ourselves in harm's way just to help others. I mean, I know it's not an original thought, but I think that's a good thing. Today's a good day for cliches. Rate, comment, subscribe. Peace and love, peace and love, peace and love. I'm done. Yeah. Oh god, this camera's awesome.
Very close. There's a nice flower right there. Slow zoom out.
Yeah. Let's do something with this. People died. This guy's not honoring 3,000 people that died.